My name is Al Snow, and I'm a former WWE superstar, host of MTV's and WWE's Tough Enough, and just about any other organization that has been in existence ever in the history of wrestling that has a W somewhere in it.
Wow. You were in Smoky Mountain was that the first major one you were in?
I've been in I was in numerous ones before that too.
Like as far as like bigger ones, or are they just independents?
Well, they were bigger ones too.
Really? Okay. Wow.
I've been doing this for 27 years, so I was around a lot longer than just Smoky Mountain.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right. Out of all the organizations you've been in, which would be your favorite?
Whichever one paid me the most at that time.
Which was your least favorite?
The one that paid me the least and had me do the most at that time.
All right.
What was the most fun you had?
When I got paid the most for doing the least at that time.
All right. And right now you're wrestling just independents?
I'm not just I'm doing a lot of other stuff too outside of wrestling.
Well, you're doing some film stuff too, I know, right?
Do a lot of film stuff and a lot of production and things like that. So keep very, very busy.
Okay. How many movies have you been in?
You know, I don't know. I've lost count now. Maybe 10 or 12, I think.
Really?
Something like that. Yeah.
All right.
I really want to know how the whole head gimmick came about.
Well, you know, I was trying to show that I had a nervous breakdown, and found the styrofoam head in the backstage area of the ECW arena, and was trying different things. I was reading a book on abnormal psychology at the time. There was a case that was similar in some ways, and not that they talked to a lady didn't talk to styrofoam head, but she had transfers to she had paranoid schizophrenia, and she transferred the problem onto inanimate objects. She heard the voices of other things, and so I thought I would do that.
And that was all totally your idea?
Yeah, Jesus, we beat this horse to death. It was my idea. Mick was in a car. I'll tell this story for 100th time. Mick was in a car. It was me, Bob Holly, and Sid Vicious, like about a year or 2 years prior. And Mick used to have a styrofoam head that he carried around, that he put his mankind mask on to retain its shape. He was in the back seat because Midian had thrown it up in the air and it hit the ceiling fan in a locker room in Montreal. It had cut a gash in the mouth. He was calling it Elaine, fooling around, saying he was going to have sex with it that night at the hotel. When I combined with all the attempts I was trying to do to show that I had a nervous breakdown, I talked to myself in the ring. I just looked like I was calling spots, picking at my clothes. I had obsessive compulsive disorder, a couple other things didn't quite catch on. And I was reading that book on abnormal psychology. I saw the styrofoam head, remembered him doing it, remembered the case, and thought, I'll treat this as if it's a real breathing person, and that was it. It was my idea. It was not his, as much as he would like to tell everybody, because he would like to say that because I gave him the entire idea for Saka, which I don't go around say that I did, but apparently I have to. So.
Okay, have you told the story about wrestling yourself a lot?
Several times, yeah.
Because we don't know that one either. Was that your idea also?
That was my idea, and also wrestling, because I'd done a vignette in the backstage area where I had basically had a hardcore match with myself, and then they had me do it on as an actual match at one point. And then I wrestled the head, which I'd been doing on house shows at different points. Not to mention in ECW, whenever I would lose, and this was before Paulie had gotten with the idea of the head or whatever and liked it, because he never liked it at first. I would lose the match, I would just go berserk, and then I would begin to wrestle the head. I would just kick the crap out of it, pile drive moonsault him, and the crowd would boo me, which made no sense because they would boo me when I would beat up a faceless styrofoam head. But then if I dropped a girl on hers, they didn't care. They thought that was great. They cheered. So, go figure.
Do you have any matches that stand out as your favorite or least favorite?
You know, there are lots of matches that I remember that I really enjoyed, but to just pick one, you know, over so many other ones, really hard. Especially after this long a time. I mean, I'm just, every time I get the chance to go out, sometimes I enjoy it more than I do other times. Sometimes it's more work than it has to be because the other guys aren't necessarily dancing with you. They're trying to wrestle and they're on a different page. They're trying to have the best match on the show, and I'm trying to have a match that tries to sell the most tickets and it doesn't quite match up. And so, you know, that makes it harder. So those are ones that you don't really enjoy as much as the ones where you just go out there and stuff just happens. It's a lot more fun doing that.
Hey, you did a one-off spot in TNA recently.
What's that?
You did a one-off spot in TNA recently.
I couldn't hear you. They're practicing. It's, you know, Lord knows we can't get enough practice. Yeah, I did a spot in TNA back in December. Well, you know, just on the pay-per-view with Mick and Kurt Angle and Rhino.
Any intention of following that up?
Apparently not. They've called a couple of different times and then they've just never followed through. I guess it's just not the right thing at the right time, you know, right situation. I'm more than busy enough. I probably haven't been home in 3 months for more than a day, maybe a day and a half. So, you know.
Do you wrestle out of the country at all? Do you wrestle out of the country at all?
Yeah, I wrestle out of the country. I've been to Australia. I was in England in February, Australia in April, the Maritimes in Canada just recently. Supposed to go to Egypt in the beginning of August. There was talk of a trip to Kuwait, and then just got word of one to South Africa.